Welcome to Curriculum Night 2020. I'm so glad you're here. Let's find out what we're going to learn about tonight. So we have learning targets for tonight. Our learning targets are how to make contact with me, what curriculum is being covered in your student's course, how to navigate my Canvas page, learning expectations for our different learning modules, and our grading practices. So by the end of the night, you should have answers to all of these statements. So, how to make contact with me. I am reachable by email at jennifer.henderson@cherokeek12.net. I try to be very quick with my turnaround answers, so feel free to email me anytime. If your student needs extra help, I have face-to-face tutoring available because everybody loves being able to go to tutoring. So it's very easy to access. All you need to do is go to our Canvas homepage. Let me bring this over so you can take a look. Here's what our Canvas homepage looks like. And you're going to scroll down and there's a button right here called Schedule an Appointment. So click the button and it takes you to a calendar. And the calendar shows what times are available for a 10-minute tutoring block. And tutoring can be longer, especially if nobody's behind them in line. We can stay on the line for more than 10 minutes or they can schedule up more than one appointment. So every day, there's multiple opportunities for tutoring. Wednesday has a few more days just because we're on the digital learning right now. So it has a few more time slots available. But I highly encourage your student to come to that. It's free tutoring and it's a great opportunity. All right, what else do we have? We have what curriculum is being covered. So Algebra 1, it's a very important course. It's kind of a course that opens up a lot in your high school career. Because if you don't get through Algebra 1, you're kind of stuck. But there's a lot of information that's taught in this course. So we've got to keep kind of moving, and I do my best to work with people and help them as much as possible, but there's a lot of information. So we've already completed Unit 1, our relationships between quantities and expressions, and we're just starting our Unit 2, linear equations and inequalities. And through this, we're going to explore a lot of different 1 and 2 variable equations and expressions and learn how to translate and all that kind of between math and English and that kind of stuff. And we're starting to build. We're going to hit 3 major functions during this year. We're going to talk about linear functions, then we're going to talk about exponential functions, and finally we're going to talk about quadratic functions. We also have a very nice statistics unit we'll do right after Christmas break to open up our second semester. And then we wrap up the year by having this comparing and contrast functions unit where we take all 3 functions that we learned about and we learn how to how does a line compare to a quadratic and all these different things that we can do with them as we prepare for our end of course test. Right. So there are standards for mathematical practice, and these are put out by the National Council for Teachers for Mathematics, and I try to keep these in mind when I'm coming up with activities for us to do. This class has been flipped, which means I expect the notes to be watched at home and the notes completed at home. So there's a video and there's a note guide for them to fill out for every lesson. And that's what I really would like them to do at home because anybody can listen to a lecture in class. What's really important is the application of that information. So I want them to come to me and then we have the opportunity to dive deep into the math and do some more of the fun activities that we might not be able to do in a 51-minute class if I need to lecture before they begin to practice. So usually our class begins with, we'll recap a little bit from the night before, just clarify any outstanding questions before we start, and then we'll have some practice. We could have matching activities, we could have task cards, we have escape rooms, we have all sorts of stuff. Right now we're trying to be very careful with our social distancing, so some of the there's a few less activities than normal just because of the social distancing that's required. But as soon as it's safe, we will start doing some more of those kinds of activities, and they're a lot of fun. So all of the activities I try to pick support these mathematical practices. I'm hoping they'll make sense of problems and persevere in solving them, because the persevering is important, because if they could do it with just immediately off the top of their head, They're in the wrong class. We're trying, they are learning, and they need to persevere and keep trying even if something's tough. Reason abstractly and quantitatively, so not just memorizing formulas. That's not what I'm trying to get them to do. I'm trying to get them to think about the math. I want them to be able to construct viable arguments and critique the reasoning of others, of error analysis, or what is happening. Why did this person do this? What do you think is going on? And have them explain their reasoning to me. I want them to be able to model the mathematics and not just replicate something that I've given them, that they're coming up with some information on their own. Use appropriate tools strategically. Calculators, I highly recommend that they have their own calculator. That way they become an expert with it. Attend to precision. You want to be accurate with your answers. Make use of structure, that you see something and it sparks I know what that is because, and it gives them kind of like a structure to build out of. And look for and express regularity and repeated reasoning. There's a lot of ideas that repeat in math that are applied in different areas, and if you can begin to understand them, you start to see these patterns, and it kind of makes the learning a little bit easier. So how to navigate my Canvas page. I have organized everything into modules. All right, so let me pull this one up for you to take a look at. So we're going to go back, we are on that office hours. So when we come to the Canvas homepage, go down to modules, click it, and every module is labeled by the week. So this is this week's module from September 7th through the 11th. Okay, and I have labeled them A day and B day, so they're not trying to discern, is this for face-to-face learners or digital learners? They just look at their day to make it easier. So we'll just open the A day because they're very, very similar. Okay, so taking a look at our A day, we have our unit name, we have our priority standards, what we're trying to focus on. We have upcoming assessments, and then I will give them the date. This is learning objectives. What should I be able to do? So based on our topic, what should you be able to do when you walk out of the door? So this day we were getting ready to, we were reviewing for the radicals quiz. So I can rewrite radicals in the simplest radical form. I can combine radicals using addition and subtraction, and I can multiply radicals the terms that have radicals. Those were the three major skills that were on the quiz. So that's what they should have been able to do when they walked out the door. I had the plan of what we were going to work on. Now this column over here, the one all the way to the right, this is the one with all of the information in it. Okay, they have their assignment. The PDF is the assignment. I gave them the answer key so they could check their work. If there's a video, this is where it's going to be. So Wednesday, there's they had a quiz that they took, and then here they had some notes that go with this video. So I'm trying to keep everything in one section. They're not having to look all over. Even turning things in is in this same box out here. So I'm making this video on today, Thursday, September 10th. Here is what we did in class today, with this translating expressions matching. They were to take their answers from this and turn it into this assignment right here. So they didn't have to go anywhere else to go look for it. It's right below the assignment. Then they have homework that has 2 papers for notes, which I gave them, and then there's a video for them to watch. So I'm trying to keep them all in one place, that they're not jumping all over Canvas trying to figure out how to turn stuff in or where things go. So it pretty much works the same whether we're full face-to-face learning, whether we're hybrid learning, or whether we're full digital learning. Everything is in Canvas. If you miss a day, it's in Canvas. Trying to support them as best I can by using one-stop shopping in Canvas. So learning expectations are different. It doesn't matter what model we're in. I expect you to check Canvas daily. I put the outline up Sunday or Monday, but I don't always have everything put into it. I add things as the week progresses because a lot of it comes from what I'm seeing in the classroom. If I see they're struggling with something along the way, I want to make sure I add more support in as the week progresses. If they're flying through it and they're all doing great, well, then I want to extend it by doing something different later in the week. So the whole complete week might not be there at the beginning, so it's very important that they check Canvas daily, okay? The video notes need to be done before they come to class. It is a homework for the night before. If they come to class, I am not lecturing in class. I'm not doing the notes in class. They will be behind. And what I'll usually do is say, take out your phone and watch the notes and complete them, and everybody else will start on their classwork. So it's to their benefit to get it done the night before. Like I said before, if you miss a day, a face-to-face day, everything's in Canvas, not a problem. I want to encourage your students to set notifications for their school email. So much information goes out through school email, and they might miss it if they're not checking it. I've sent multiple emails about expectations and things I need done that aren't necessarily getting through because they're not checking them. So it's an important skill as they age and they get to adulthood, they go to college, they get a job, any of those things, you've got to be checking your email regularly. It's a major form of communication. Grading practices. Now, these grading practices have come down from Cherokee County. All of the teachers follow the same grading practices across the board in Algebra 1. 40% of their grade is going to come from classwork, homework, and quizzes. So we're on a point system, and so a classwork is usually worth, a classwork or homework is 10 points. Quizzes are usually 50 points, so they're weighted a little heavier within this category just because there are more points. And then the county has us down for 60% counting for unit tests. New this year is this grade coding, and the purpose of it is to give you more information just looking at the grade book so you understand what's going on. If I've decided to excuse an assignment, for whatever reason, I'll put the code EX in, and that means they don't have to do it and it doesn't count against them. If there's a 0, the 0 means they turned in the assignment and they didn't get any of it right. That means they didn't demonstrate any understanding, okay? What you'd be more likely to see is a 1, meaning they were here, but they didn't submit the assignment. And that tells you they didn't turn it in. So that's knowledge that you wouldn't have had if I just put a 0 in. So it kind of helps you understand what I'm seeing on my side of the classroom too. A 2 is the assignment is complete and cannot be graded as is. It needs to be completed and resubmitted. Usually what this is I'm having them submit pictures to Canvas just to cut down on the amount of paper coming between us. I'll give them papers to work on, but I don't necessarily want them to come back to me just as a transmission site. So I'm having them take pictures and upload the pictures to the assignments in Canvas. Usually what's happened is they've uploaded the wrong picture because they're submitting assignments this way for a lot of their classes. So all they need to do is submit their correct picture and we can move on. Or it could be that it's a format I cannot open. The Apple phones with the .heic extension for the pictures, I can't open those. And you can change that in the settings in the Apple phone. And finally, a 3 is the student was absent and they'll get full credit when they turn it in. I hope I was able to answer questions that you may have had. If I was not able to answer any questions that you had, please let me know, and I'd be happy to let you know whatever I can. Thank you for coming tonight.